It's time for us to talk nutrition now. On the nutrition segment today, we're going to be talking about nutrition and how it impacts on women's monthly cycle. All right. The nutrition segment is sponsored by Lily Rice. Lily Rice, tasty food, happy family. Now, Akusia Kunidi Adam has joined us, and I want to just say this, that men in particular need to pay attention to this because we live with the women and they are part of our lives, and it's important for us to understand and also to assist them along this. Even as they pay attention, men also need to pay attention to this as well. So Akusia Kunidi Adam, who's a state-registered nutritionist, is going to help us to get into this discussion this morning. Akusia, good morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm also yourself.
I'm very good, thank you. Now, so let's begin right away. What should women be thinking of, in terms of their nutrition as far as their cycle is concerned?
Okay, so nutrition has everything to do with you as a human being and being a woman and being somebody who is obviously menstruating. Definitely, it's something that you need to really pay attention to, because I posted in my shares of the flyer, in my sharing of the flyer, I asked, do you realize that you can have a very, very quiet menstruation this month, but the previous month was like a living hell, where you had all the pains, all the menstrual cramps and what have you. It has everything to do with the food you ate, with the cramps. So whatever you are eating can affect your nutrient levels.
Okay.
So how depleted your nutrient or mineral levels will be greatly has everything to do with what you are eating, because there are some foods that will trigger those symptoms you go through, and there are some foods you are already having those symptoms. They come in to worsen those symptoms for you. So what you are eating can be bad, because when you are menstruating, your body will need to utilize nutrients in a certain way. And so there could be depletion, especially for somebody who really bleeds during that time of the month. You need to be paying attention to your iron stores. And even with the iron stores, we know that you need to make sure you are eating a lot of iron. But when it comes to something like red meat, there is a problem. So you may need to also watch that. So I'm sure the questions will will bring all these things out, because I'm like, red meat, you said we need a lot of iron, but there is something in red meat that makes it bad when you're having your menses.
Oh, really?
Yep.
What is that?
So there is prostaglandins.
Okay.
And you being a biochemist, you know what it is. It distorts everything as far as the quality of meat is concerned with relation to your menses.
Wow. I see. So what are some of the foods that we should be looking at in terms of...
So there are foods you need to be looking at. Omega-3 fatty acid rich foods. We have fish, example being salmon. And then if for some reasons you know that you have pitfalls, I have omega-3 supplements I take. So maybe during that time of the month, or when I know that my cycle, I'm almost closer to menstruating, or I'm ovulating, I can decide to have them. And then we have vitamin D rich foods. We have foods low in animal fat. So with people who love to eat meat, chicken, what have you, do the lean part. And a classical example of a lean part as far as chicken is concerned is the breast. And then for the lean part of beef or whatever, but we are saying that because of prostaglandins, you need to watch it as far as red meat consumption is concerned. So when you're having your menses, you can go chicken and fish. And we have the example fish there. And then we have low salt food. Now, it helps as far as retention of fluid is concerned. And that can also be something you need to pay attention to. So anything that will release a lot of sodium or salt into your system will need to be checked. So during that time of the month, instead of going for the tin or the canned food, you can decide to go fresh. And then it will help, because most of the canned products come with brine solution. And it will definitely cause a spike.
So you don't want to be retaining too much water? Is that what you're saying?
Yes, too much fluid. So fluid retention is part of the reasons why you need to. You have to make sure that there are electrolyte balancing. When it comes to biochemistry, when I'm talking to you, I smile, because then I know that you get what I mean, and so you'll be able to probably process it well for the viewer. It's my field though. Then we have low caffeine. A lot of caffeine is bad. And even when it comes to pregnant women and talking about iron and folate-rich foods, one of the things we tell them to run away from has to do with caffeine. Now, it's an inhibitor in itself. So you are losing blood. Okay. If you are losing blood and you are taking something that will even inhibit the absorption of iron, you are losing blood. Okay. And something is also making sure that you don't have enough blood. So that is something that will obviously affect you, and then it will contribute to the symptoms, the headaches, the abdominal cramps, you feeling nauseous. Sometimes you realize that you just don't feel like eating anything. You are thrown off mood. There is mood swing, and then there is bloating. For some women, when they are at that time of the month, bloating is something that really happens to them. So what you are eating can be a reason. So I was talking about low caffeine foods. We have other foods too that you can eat. Leafy green vegetables. You will never go wrong with natural or organic food when it comes to your menstrual health and then nutrition. And then dark chocolate, very good because it is rich in magnesium. Magnesium, potassium, good as far as relaxation is concerned, good for general well-being as far as your immunity is concerned. And then it has something to also do as far as your blood health is also concerned. And so, yes, go for it. For stress management, we have yogurt. And for women, I'll always preach Greek yogurt because of the presence of probiotics. That helps as far as taking care of certain infections and then aiding with digestion and what have you is concerned. And then we have fruits. Now, when you take, I would say that for people who enjoy a lot of sugar, you can do that with fruit. So let's say you want your oatmeal with, instead of adding a lot of sugar, you can decide to cut some bananas in there or cut some mangoes in there. The fructose or the sugar in the fruit will help. That way, with something, there's something about the fructose or the fruits. The sugar in there curbs your cravings. Okay. So now you wouldn't crave for, okay, I want to take candies. It helps to arrest those cravings a lot of women experience during that time of the month. And then water. Water is very, very good because you need to stay hydrated. The reason why you have the headache is sometimes because you don't have enough water in you. Okay. So when you take your normal 500 ml, 4 bottles of that, it is something that is great depending on what you do. So if you're somebody who is very sedentary, then we say 2 liters at least is okay, equivalent to the 8 glasses. If you're a pregnant woman, if you're a lactating mother, if you're somebody who is heavily engaged as far as using your physical energy is concerned, then we say 6 is okay for you. So that is like 12 glasses. Okay. 6 will mean 3 liters.
Okay, so 500
ml, 6 of that. So that will pass for somebody who is lactating, somebody who is pregnant, and somebody who is actively engaged. But if you have to come and sit here and just do a lot of things where you can't even go down to pick files, everything is brought to you, then it means that you are not really physically, so you don't need, the 4 bottles may work for you. So those are foods that you can have. Lentils, leafy greens, vegetables in general are good. And then we had some examples on the screens for you. And so make them part of your meals during the time of the month to make sure these things are arrested, and maybe those pains you go through will be taken care of eventually.
There's something I'll ask you later. But let's talk about foods to avoid, things to completely, they are no-no.
Okay, so I would say that you need to cut down. For example, because of my menses, I should eat yam with no salt. Why? I will eat it. But you need to make sure that they are cut down. Okay. And I gave an example. Instead of adding a lot of sugar to my oatmeal or to my cereal, I can decide to go for banana. So that at least I don't have to. So you find an alternative for it because of what you will need to go through and the depletion that can happen. Obviously, you are nothing without your blood. If I take every blood if you take it out of me right now, I don't think I will survive. And so whatever will affect my iron levels is something I will need to watch. I need to watch. So I need to make sure that I am eating well. For the foods to avoid, salt is something you need to pay attention to. You don't need a lot of them. I've spoken about it. Salt contributes a lot to bloating and then fluid retention. And then we have sugars. It raises your energy levels. And before we started, we were talking about sugar, where there will be a spike because, okay, you've given me that sugar and I can feel that sugar. So the body quickly picks it up, and then glucose is okay, I'm ready. I have more than I need. I have a lot of glucose. So as soon as I pick it up and I use it up, then there is a depletion somewhere because, okay, I felt I had it also. I had to take everything up. And so that is it. You have to watch. It's very tricky with sugar.
Yeah.
You need it, but if you don't play your cards well, your body will use it and the harms happen. And then coffee, alcohol, you need to go for it.
Before you continue, we're going to take a short break. We'll come back, and then I want to ask you about cinnamon and turmeric.
All right.
All right. So let's take a short break. We'll be right back.
Hey, bro.
Lele, tasty food.
Bless you, Pastor.
Bless you, my son.
Lele, tasty food. Happy, happy family. Lele,
Ifo, it be so.
Lele, tasty food. Happy, happy family.
Ewi. My body come after this is something.
Find out why people are going a whole 9 yards just to eat Lele rice. Lele, tasty food, happy family.
Tasty food and a happy family.
This advert is FDA approved.
Welcome back, and of course that was Lele rice, tasty food, happy family. Now, Akosia, so turmeric and cinnamon, these two. No, I'm fascinated by them because I've recently been taking quite a bit. You know.
Are you menstruating?
No, but I know they have lots and lots of health benefits. What I'm wondering about is using them as taste enhancers, you know, like in food and so on. So, I mean, I don't mind putting a bit of cinnamon in my coffee, for example.
That's good.
Yeah, I do that, you know. So just talk a little bit about that.
Cinnamon is incredible as far as even persons with diabetes, hypertension, what have you, are concerned. With the diabetes, hypertension topics we've discussed here, cinnamon has always been one of the things you can use. But obviously, it can be a spice, it can be a condiment. It can be a herb, depending on what you are using it for. Cinnamon, turmeric, those two, they are powerful as far as helping with they have anti-inflammatory properties, and so definitely will help you, relieve you of your abdominal cramps and the pains that come with menstruation. It's also help as far as helping you to relax. It's also concerned. So once we've spoken about even blood sugar spike, it makes the conversation even more interesting because now I know that I can even influence on my blood sugar levels as far as me making cinnamon or turmeric because of the curcumin in the turmeric. So it helps with soothing you of the pain. That is one thing any anti-inflammatory thing will do for you. And then it helps to calm you down. You know, that time of the month is a special time for you to calm down. And sometimes due to what you are doing, maybe I have to take care of this pressure at work, you need something to calm you down as far as stress is concerned. And you can do that with whatever you are eating by making these spices part of it. But with spices, you need to be careful. I, for one, if I do a lot of pepper, I naturally don't like a lot of pepper. If at that time of the month you bring it in, I'll have diarrhea.
Wow.
I will mostly have diarrhea. So I don't eat a lot of hot or spicy food. So you need to be careful. Everything will need to be done in moderation. And another example I'll give you has to do with the monosodium glutamate enhancers, the boiling cubes. Because of the presence of the monosodium glutamate, it makes your sodium levels spike.
Yeah.
So you don't need to use that. Use salt and use other spices.
Okay.
So if it is that time of the month, a good example I've done with even stews is to do shrimp powder, fish powder with just salt.
Yeah.
And you have something tasting great because you obviously have ginger, you have garlic, you have onions in there. And ginger too is very good because of the anti-inflammatory properties at that time of the month. So you can have warm water with a bit of ginger in the morning, and then that will help you as far as you taking care of every soothing or pain is concerned.
I like that. I
Yep.
like that.
I know you were interested in the turmeric and then the cinnamon. Coco will be a
no,
good dad.
those three. So ginger, turmeric, and cinnamon.
daughter
for
is
me,
lucky.
For me, they are very, very important. But we have a question here. It's coming from Miss Na in Tamale. And the question is, good morning, Akosia. I'm in my menses now, but I can't walk and I feel severe pains in my legs, waist, and thighs. What can I do?
Sweetheart, please see a gynecologist because if it is getting that bad, and it was even going to be like my final comment, if your symptoms, and I don't know if you quickly want us to
let's go through the symptoms.
If it gets out of hand, you need to make sure you see a gynecologist. Don't go and see a gynecologist because this is something, it's getting out of hand. Why? You have your menses, you can't walk. Do you even know if I have my menses now? I'm here talking to you. So if it gets out of hand, for what you said, you need to see a doctor, and then afterwards, eat whatever we've spoken of here, and then try doing the cinnamon, the warm water, just to help take care of the pain you are going through. But where you can't walk, where you are bleeding, there are people changing their parts like 6 times in a day, 8 times in a day. Then you need to seek help, because if you're supposed to bleed like that for like days, 5 days, then it means that it's going to affect your hemoglobin levels, and this you need help. So the symptoms: abdominal cramps, headaches, nausea, or you feeling nauseous, fatigue. There are some people at that time of the month, they get extremely tired. That one is lethargy. So any little thing they do, they are just tired. So I climbed upstairs, I sat here, and it's like I carried the whole of city on my head. There is something wrong.
There's something wrong.
And then if your mood keeps swinging, then it means that you need to help yourself. And then diarrhea, where it gets out of hand, as far as any of these things I've mentioned is concerned. So you are running in a day, let's say it's not even 10 a.m. You've done already 6, 7.
You've gone 7 times.
Then it means
That's
that it's a whole lot. So dehydration can even set in. The headache can get worse, because once your body is dehydrated, headaches are bound to happen. It can increase your cramps, and it can increase any of the symptoms here. So if you are feeling these light headaches, and you can work with whatever we've spoken about, let's say today you are going through that, eat whatever we've preached, and then do whatever we've spoken of, and then let's see how it goes. If symptoms persist after 3 days, if it's getting out of hand, you need to seek help.
Okay. All right, fantastic. Akosia, where can people reach you?
Okay, so on Instagram at The Nutritionist Akosia, on Facebook, LinkedIn, and Twitter, Nutritionist Akosia, and you can WhatsApp me on 0243 350206. Let's eat well for our menses.
Fantastic. Thank you very much.
It's always a pleasure.
So we've been speaking to Akosia Kunedu Yadom, who is a state-registered nutritionist, and she's been helping us to understand how nutrition affects the monthly cycle of women. Now, this segment was brought to us by Lily Rice. Lily Rice, tasty food, happy family.